It's a slow day, huh? Just me, all by myself, in my domain, so very alone. Okay, seriously, why is no one dying? They said it couldn't be done. Combat masteries and combat relics? That's way too much combat. Well, guess what? Jagex did them both, and now they're trying to fight their player base? Or maybe this is supposed to be inspirational? I don't know. But I do know that I want to talk about these relics, so let's just go ahead and jump right in with the very first one, Last Stand. If damage would reduce you to 0 health, you are reduced to 1 hit points instead. And after that, your combat stats are instantly boosted to 255, but begin draining rapidly back down to your base level. For the next 16 ticks, a tick is 0.6 seconds by the way, that's 9.6 seconds, you cannot be reduced to 0 HP. All the damage the player deals during those 16 ticks, it turns around into a heal for the player. And once you have proc this, it cannot be used again until you either die or 3 minutes have passed. Now, before I add on or elaborate on any of this, let's of course go to the Discord and look at the frequently asked questions. I don't make these videos until they put these out, by the way. Some people are not including this info or giving you a whole 6-minute segment that's completely null and void because the thing they're talking about just doesn't even matter anymore. So trying to game the system using the preserve prayer, it does not slow down the stats. They're still going to be drained 9.6 seconds. Sorry. And you actually had to take this at places where you actually do damage. Any healing done during the effect does not raise your HP above 1. Once the effect is over, you will not be overhealed for any healing you did while it was active as well. When it says 1 HP, it means 1 HP. You are staying at 1 HP. You better learn how to tick eat if you aren't doing any damage. So I did do some maths. I wrote out a handy dandy little chart. I'm not sure that this is literally 100% perfect, but here's a general look at how your levels are going to decay over every tick. I did write them out in seconds and not ticks though, but you can do a little bit of counting if you really need to, okay? But basically every tick you're losing 9.75 levels. So if you got a crazy 1 tick blowpipe, you're still going to be doing a lot of damage and have a really high level for a long time. I think this relic is really good if you want to be really bursty, like if you have a specific window where it's good to do a lot of damage to a boss. I haven't really done TOB very much, but I've heard some people talk about using this at bloat. I guess you don't have to hang around and just keep walking, you can just nuke them. I thought it'd be fun to give you an idea what kind of damage you could do. Here's a base trident, here's how it's calculated. Magic level divided by 3, so 99 divided by 3 would be 33. Then -5, which is 28. That's a normal trident that you can expect in the main game. Now, if we change 99 for 255, we get 85 -5. That's 80. That's your max hit, is an 80 with a trident. That is kind of crazy. Oh, and that's not with any other gear, by the way. I think if you're wanting to pick this relic to maximize DPS and you want to make this go off every 3 minutes, might be kind of annoying. This might not be exactly the relic you're looking for unless you also have some places where you think you might die or your sequence breaking. But I think this is super good if you want to try to AFK some bosses. There's definitely some where at certain points you can go ahead and let this proc while you're not looking and it doesn't matter at all and you just keep auto healing, like something that slowly lowers your health during the fight. Or stupid fast weapons like the blowpipe at 1 tick. During a normal fight, you probably have to move around a little bit and do other things. You probably don't literally get 1 tick attacks the entire time. Whereas this is basically a 16 tick window where you're going to be able to just literally straight attack. So this thing seems really cool, but how does this stack up to last year's offering? This seems kind of familiar, doesn't it? So Undying Retribution was a tier 8 from last league, and there are a few key differences here, and I think I definitely prefer the way that Last Stand works. This thing used to just be a nuke. It was a 7x7 area that you just blew up. And this didn't work on bosses that were immune to recoil damage. That's how it calculated it. It was Retribution. Whereas Last Stand actually enhances your existing styles, so it's a lot more useful in other places for one, but also it's just more of a gameplay mechanic. There's nuance to it and you can stack it up in a different way. My Last Stand will be different than your Last Stand. Or I may have 2 play styles. I may have spec'd out my combat mastery in a specific way to where like maybe I swap equipment right before I go into last stand and it does something completely different. So I wouldn't say in every single scenario last stand is literally stronger than Undying Retribution, but it definitely gives a lot more room for you to do whatever you want. Next up is the Guardian. Whenever you pick this, you get the Guardian Horn. The Guardian Horn lets you summon a Guardian Thrall. This lasts 30 minutes, but I think it like teleports around with you. So I don't know why you have to keep resummoning it. Like, I don't know why there's a timer on it. I guess maybe like just to help servers or something. I'm not really sure. But the Guardian will attack your target with whatever style it's weak to. It adapts, it changes on the fly. Whenever you're in multi-combat, it also will swap to an AoE attack if they're weak to range or magic. And it's got some pretty decent stats. A minimum hit of 5, a max hit of 13, so that averages out to about 9, an attack speed of 4, that's pretty good, and then a ton of accuracy, 45,000. Now, according to my numbers, 9 damage, 4 attack speed, that's 2.4 seconds. That is 3.75 damage per second, or 2.25 damage per tick. And this isn't just added on top of your existing damage. This can also maybe hit things better than you can because it can swap styles. Now, you can't take your new friend out PvPing, unfortunately. That would be kind of crazy if it just kept swapping styles as someone's praying against it. But it does work inside the gauntlet, so that might be crazy against the Echo Boss. This is the one I think you pick if you just want a general DPS upgrade. You want something to be good basically everywhere and just make everything just a tiny bit faster. But I do also think it's kind of boring, and I do also think it's a little unnecessary this league's because we're building around having different combat setups. You're probably going to have one main style and then a second one that's still pretty good. So having this being able to change styles is great, so it's actually doing damage, but it's not as big because there's not like as big of a hole in your play styles for it to fill. And last year basically had the exact same thing. Trailblazer Reloaded did have a Guardian. You used the Guardian Horn, a lot of the same things, but the damage roll was different. The damage roll before was a 6 to 15, which would be a 10, so that's more than 9, but it's a tick slower. So whenever you average everything out, it's actually only 3.3 DPS last year, whereas this new one is 3.75. So it's slightly better. If you liked it last year, you'll probably like it this year. It'll probably be, again, slightly better. And then we have the Specialist. Whenever you pick this relic, you gain the following benefits to the special attack. All special attacks cost 20% and have 100% accuracy. That's added, not total. For each failed accuracy roll with a special attack, gain 10% special attack energy, so you get a little bit of a refund. You only use half of it whenever you don't hit. Whenever you kill an NPC, restore 15% special attack energy. I don't know what region you guys are picking, but I have so many special attack weapons. It is crazy. I think I'm going Wildy as Garnia Corinne. So I have like, I got Voidwaker, I got the new Echo weapon, 2 different kinds of claws, the dog sword, all the god swords, Elder Maul, Dragon Warhammer. There's so many, and there's so many more. Like, I know that spamming special attacks can get kind of boring, but if you want to change it up, there's a lot of like good special attack weapons. You can cycle through different weapons and you'll still probably be doing good and having a good time. I do have to say, for me personally though, I have played a league where I kind of built around doing special attacks, and honestly, it's kind of annoying hitting the special attack orb. Like, I don't really enjoy that playstyle of every time you want to attack an NPC, you basically are clicking twice. Like, have you ever manually casted from your spellbook, or do you like to prayer flick while you're fighting? I feel like this playstyle kind of forces you to do that. Now, obviously, you're not going to have literally infinite special attack bar, so at a certain point, you're going to stop doing that, but like, I don't know. I feel like I really have to see other people use this for me to get hyped about it myself, or at the very least, I need to try out the dog sword and then go, oh, I see the potential with this. Now, Trailblazer Reloaded actually did have something incredibly similar to this, but it was a tier 7 Weapon Master. Now, Weapon Master always hit, and it had a buffed passive regenerate on special attack energy as well. And then the craziest thing, and the thing that I've heard players complain about the most, both ways, by the way, I've heard people say, oh, I hated that I felt like I had to do this last league. And I've heard people now go, oh, why'd they take this out? That was so strong. If players have less energy than required to activate a special attack, they can instead choose to perform additional special attacks by sacrificing 25 hit points, which is kind of cool, but it really just means that you're spamming in between eating food and clicking special attack and clicking on the boss, and you're just doing this little weird triangle thing where until it dies, which again, unfortunately, I just don't really think is that much fun. Or at least I think I'll get annoyed with it at a certain point. I think right off the bat it'll be fun. You'll be doing crazy damage, you'll be having effects happen that you never even thought of and stacking up this and that. But like for me, whenever I did a special attack build before, my day 1 enjoyment versus my day 7 enjoyment, it was completely different. But I know there are some diehard special attack fans out there, so please let me know, what are you looking most forward to using this with? And would you please use that special attack on the subscribe button? I would appreciate it. Leagues is almost here. We still got some stuff to cover, and I am gonna be covering it. So make sure to be on the lookout for that, and until the next one, take care. Goodbye.